Good afternoon. My name is Kenji Williams. I'm a creative director and a composer, and I'm going to present for you this project called Bella Gaia, which means beautiful earth. And as Jim mentioned, the visuals that have been playing sort of during breaks is the content that I produce and put together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how this project came about and where it's at right now and where I want to take it, and some of the incredible results of transformation that we've found. So I basically was inspired to make this project by meeting a NASA astronaut, Mike Fink. And when I met him, I asked him, what is it that changed when you went to space? He lived on the space station for over a year. And he told me that before he went to space, he was a planetary scientist, and his favorite planets were like Mars and Jupiter and Saturn. But once he went to space and looked out the window of the space station and saw this planet with an atmosphere just 20 miles thick and this living blue bubble of life floating in the blackness of space, he came back to Earth with a much greater appreciation for our planet. He had this complete life transformation. And actually many astronauts experience this. They call it the overview effect. So I was just so inspired by this meeting with Mike that got me thinking, how could I bring this transformative experience of seeing our Earth from space to those who cannot yet go to space? Perhaps it'll be like getting on an airplane in the future, but as for now, we need a tool to create that transformation, perhaps without the cost and the pollution. So I began this journey of creating Bella Gaia, and my friend at the Natural History Museum, and I eventually presented at NASA and started using tools, data visualization tools, to turn things like this, which is a flat map, into more engaging visualizations of mapping real fire data pulled from NASA servers and map it onto an Earth where you can then visualize things like fires in the Amazon that are happening just last week. And some of the amazing content and support I get from NASA are these amazing data visualizations of ocean currents, for example. This is using their supercomputers, and they curate a lot of the content that goes into Bella Gaia. So the experience, and it is a live performance where this is projected and I'm performing, and I'll show you a little sample tonight when I perform, but it is really without words other than these very subtle labels, and it is a very much of an audio-visual experience without narration, without many words. And this is really the language of Bella Gaia, is showing how the Earth is alive without telling you in words. So it's really a way to communicate beyond words. This is another blue marble data set, but then cycled through 12 months, so you can see the rhythm and the breathing of the Earth without saying a single word. This is the changes from summer to winter over California, although right now that would look probably a bit more different. Taking things like spreadsheets, data of oil consumption, and then extruding it into these sort of KML maps where you can actually show real data and information, big data, but in this very visual and engaging form. And also another interesting thing is I'm able to incorporate current events. So when the oil spill was happening in the Gulf of Mexico, I was performing this show around the world, but also including the content and downloading satellite data of the spill as it grew, incorporating into the show, and then performing it live for people. And another thing that we do is when I performed at the Aspen Institute, there were fires going on in Colorado. We can download this sort of imagery and customize it for the geographical location of where I perform. I also just performed in California, so I included actually some drought data from NASA. So NASA has been an incredible, incredible partner, and not only have they been giving me a lot of this content, but they also funded a four-year education program, $500,000 we got from a grant from them to use this for earth science education for kids. But as you can see here, we have actually multiple platforms of Bella Gaia where we have an education program, we have the live show, we have online merchandise, and also we just finished producing a full-dome planetarium movie, and also we just finished a 4-minute Oculus Rift trailer, which I have here. If anyone wants to experience it, I'll have it with me. So these are some of the photos of places that I've performed in planetariums. This is our large ensemble show where we have multiple amazing musicians on stage. And this is a concert-length 80-minute show where we perform at theaters, and we really explore more into the cultures around the world, exploring the relationship between humans and nature, and really celebrating our cultural heritage, but also the relationship of how the environment affects culture. For example, this is our India section where I directed this dance and story in that, it's looking at the Ganges River where it is sometimes expected to run dry from melting Himalayas. This is New York. We have breakdancers for New York. And going into places like Egypt, where with climate change things are expected to really heat up. So it's really taking these very complex, big issues, but presenting it in an entertainment way. We do a lot of amazing collaborations with different types of people, with Deepak Chopra, with youth choirs. We do customized shows. This is a production we did at NYU where we had an ancient Japanese orchestra perform with us. I've done a live collaboration with an orbiting astronaut. We transported this wooden instrument called a show up to the space station using a SpaceX module. And as Koichi Wakata was orbiting above Houston, I was down on Earth jamming with him live. This was definitely a 10-year-old dream come true for me. And this instrument, by the way, traditionally is an instrument used to tune the cosmos. So it was just profound to be actually using this instrument in space, tuning the cosmos, so to speak. We do conferences, as I'm here now, and as I mentioned, this is Paul Miller, who was here yesterday, trying out my Oculus Rift. And this education program with NASA was an incredible experience. 4 years we took this to museums, schools, and packaged the show with NASA scientists to get deeper into the science, and also creating hands-on workshops for the kids. And as a NASA requirement, if you do get a grant from NASA, you have to do extensive evaluations to see if what you're doing is working. And what we found was just really just incredible. 95% of the people we surveyed reported a transformation, a greater understanding of our Earth systems. And perhaps more importantly, we more than doubled the amount of people who said that the Earth plays a more important role in their personal lives and their families. And this, I feel, is a very key factor in that how do you personalize these very complex, large topics like climate change, the interconnected nature of our Earth, but how do you make it personal to someone's life today or people that they love. And certainly we can tug emotional strings with polar bears and whatnot, but really to explain and show the interconnected nature and how our actions affect something else, make that personal and pertain to your personal life, I think is a very powerful tool. And so where is this project going now? My dream is really to create our own theater, to really bring the best of full dome planetariums, dome technology with traditional theater where you can do proper lighting for the dancers. And so I'm trying to raise money and funding and support and find partnerships to build essentially a Cirque du Soleil type of a production, but that actually has a useful purpose to society. And also develop more things like more interactive technology with dancers, perhaps explore deeper topics and the true nature of our universe, and have it be a tool to really remind ourselves of our place in the universe. These are some example videos. This is a French crew doing amazing visual tricks, but this is in front of a live audience of projected images on screens, but you can make things look like holograms and really create fantastic new worlds. So actually doing something like this, I'm developing and working with programmers to do an R&D project for an event next year in New York called Creative Tech Week. It's going to be a week-long event with hopefully thousands of attendees, but it's all about this whole new field of interactive technology and art, and you should definitely be there. It'd be a lot of cool exhibits and a lot of new kinds of ideas in art and expression and technology. So thank you all so much, and I look forward to meeting you and joining you on this journey. So thank you very much.